Hi everyone, me Funkagenda. I'm back here at the FaderPro studios for the Toolroom Academy. I'm going to be showing you over the next few hours how to start tracks. Because obviously it's all very well like having an idea, like, oh, I'm going to do a track that's like got a sample out of, I don't know, like a Bill Withers record or something like that. But, how do you actually get to that point where, you know what you want to put into the record? How do you decide, what your sound palette is going to be? Do you just leave it up to a bunch of happy accidents or whatever? So I'm going to try and show you a few ways for a few different genres of how to sort of maximize your workflow and get things going nicely, nice and quick. I'm also going to try and show you some of the, I hope that what it shows you while I'm doing this is some of the processes that I go through when I'm putting together a record, because obviously this is going to be the way that I would do it. You don't have to do it this way, but I'm hoping that you'll come away with some ideas and some inspiration, and that it gives you a sort of a kick in the right direction. So I'm going to mute off the click for the moment. And we're just going to start with and listen to the actual, sort of the actual bass part of the kick. What I like to do, because the kicks are quite long, and because they carry a lot of bass in them, and you can extend the length like this if you want, or you can make them like super short. But I like to make them a little bit longer. So I'm gonna make mine about 800. And then I tend to sort of, if I want the kick to be on like E, then I'd sort of bring this to, say, F#1, and then I bring this down to E, and the middle ground of this is sort of roughly where the kick is gonna sit, but it'll sit perfectly with like anything that you put over the top in E. It's a little bit low, probably, for this, so I'm just going to come back up, and we'll say we'll do this at kind of like F#. So I'm going to go from G to F, so the middle ground of that is F#. And then I'm going to bring the initial attack down, so you can see it really reduces the amount of click that happens at the start of the So that immediately is like a much cooler sort of kick sound. So we're going to unmute the click now. And let's go for something a little bit houseier. So that's pretty cool. I kind of like that though. It's not too obtrusive, but at the same time, it's got like a little bit of a vinyl-y sort of feel to it. And with this plugin, you can tune the kicks up and down, and the pitch up and down and everything. So it's all it's very very sort of tactile as far as it goes. You can literally create any kind of kick that you want with this. So I'm going to save this as there you go. Let's go into factory, user kicks, and we'll call this Tech House Kick. What I like to do with my drum buses is I use a technique called mid-side EQ. It's a really nice way of putting width into the drums using EQ. Basically, with mid-side, what it does is it separates the signal into two individual sections. You've got everything that goes up the middle, and then you've got everything that's at the sides. And as some of these things have already got stereo in them, we know that they are going to go, some of them are going to be pushed to the outer side. So the way you do this, there are a ton of plugins that have got mid-side EQ on them, but Ableton's plugin, Ableton's onboard EQ has already got it. You'll see it says here mode. You click on that and you go to M/S, and that puts it in mid-side mode. Mid is orange and side is green. So with the mid, what I tend to do is push the sort of low, mid, and mid frequencies. That's kind of where the snare is and stuff. So I'm going to push the 200 hertz frequency, which is like roughly where the snare goes. If we just have a look, you can actually see the snare is at 160 on here. So we're going to put this down to 160. We're going to put the Q width about 2, and we're just going to push it about 3 dB. And that's just going to make the snare knock a little bit. And I'm also going to push band 3, which is around about 1,000 hertz. So it's sort of like mid eking into the upper mid. And I'm just going to push that up by 1. It's almost unnoticeable. And then we're going to flick to the sides. And now what I like to do with the sides is I like to push the treble at the sides so that it creates like an airy, sort of spacious sort of feel. So you can see that's where the mid is now, going across the screen. You can sort of follow that, but it's gray at the moment because we're working on the sides. And on the sides, I'm going to take the 2.3 kilohertz, or like 2300 hertz sort of frequency area. We're going to put a steep Q on it of about 3. We're going to make this into a shelf, and we're just going to push this maybe like 3 dB. So you can see that's just shot up. Oh, I've done it on the wrong one though. We'll pull this back. 300. There we go. We can turn these ones off. And so now you can see that's like in contradiction to the middle, that's pushing the outer part of the signal. And so we've got this brightness out here, but then in the center, we've got this very, very sort of punchy snare signal. And it's just a really simple way of getting like a little bit of stereo width into something that, without having to use loads of like enhancers and stuff like that, just done with the EQ, it's very, very simple. Let's have a quick look at some arrangement ideas, and then we'll move on to the next genre. So I was kind of doing a little bit of stuff there. You don't necessarily, tech house is kind of like a real, it's a real minimal kind of thing, like the really important thing is the groove. And that's what we've got in this part right here. This is the part that is the most exciting part of the record. This is the part that's, going to keep people on the dance floor, and you add little bits of percussion in, or, you do like small bits of filtering. So like say you'll put a low cut on, and you'll just sort of kind of let that ride out for a little bit before dropping back in when the kick's going to come back in. It's a very DJ-friendly kind of music, so you'd probably want to, you'll want the track to build up. I'm not going to go through all like the drum intro and stuff, but let's just assume that we've done the drum intro and that this is the main section. So we're going to pull this across the screen maybe for 2 minutes, right? And in this sort of like 2-minute section, we're going to want to start to introduce different parts of it. So we'll take out those old school hits, and we know that we've just got the bass here for now. And then I'm gonna pull out the kick on this section, and that's gonna be where I introduce the old school hits. So I'm gonna sort of just delete the drums there. So you'll hear as this comes along now, while we're coming through this section, I've just copied the first part of the piano over and over again. And you saw that I put a filter on it earlier, so I'm going to take this down to 200. And I'm going to do a gradual filter sweep on the piano until we get into the breakdown. So you can hear here now the kicks dropped out. And then we're going to get to the end of the bar. And we're going to kick back into the bass. Just these little figures like that, you know, it doesn't have to be anything special. It just needs to be something that's going to keep the dance floor's attention. Entirely happy with the key of that. That's much better. Now let's just see what this sounds like with just the kick on its own. Okay, let's take the kick out.